So, today we are experimenting with mics and starting with a quotation and then moving on to several other quotations, which will lead us into my interpretation of this year, which is ending, the year of the snake, which I do believe a lot of the stuff I say will resonate with whoever's listening. The first quotations will be from a book I highly recommend, which has been released very recently and does deal with the modern trauma response, which has been getting a lot of research recently as well. And it is called phoning, which in simple terms, like if we are to very much simplify it and translate it, deal with people pleasing. And the quotations are from the book Are You Mad at Me? How to Stop Focusing on What Others Think and Start Living for You. It is written by Meg Josephson, who is a psychologist. First, I'm going to read them, and later we will bring everything back to how it relates to this year. So the first quotation is the following. Beautiful things unfold when you unconditionally accept the rare, strange person that you are. When you get clarity on what you want, don't be surprised when habits, people, and situations that aren't meant for you depart from your life. What do snakes do? They shed their skin, and this year is all about that. And this few lines really do resonate with what's been happening in my personal life, but I think in general, because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this, and I will join the crowd when the crowd is correct and needs joining and support. It's been a year of removing people, habits, addictions. I mean, everything you do deem negative. And it's been a year of revelations as well. Next quotation. My heart's been cracked open to let in the friends and family I do have. This doesn't erase the grief, yet it's easy to overlook those who are in our support system by focusing on those who aren't there. We can put our attention on those who are present with us instead of on those who can't be what we need. I don't think this needs further comments from me. I think it's very brief and to the point. And the last quotation from this particular book will be, you're not just healing your own patterns, you're healing generations of silence, needs, and self neglect. You're processing generations of trauma that your ancestors before you didn't have the knowledge, resources, or awareness to process themselves. You're sifting through a backlog of pain and patterns that others didn't sift through. Be easy on yourself. I have been seeing, you know, a lot of people going through it. It's been a lot just shedding and shedding, and until the last month, still finding new people, items, revelations that prompt you to the one thing you don't want to do, and you know the things you've been holding on to because you have been seeing them in a different light than what they actually are. This did happen to me. That's why I'm talking like that. And why I'm sharing this will be made clear by the last quotation I do want to read out for today, which is by the French American author Anais Nin. And the quotation is the following. When we go deeply into the personal, we go beyond the personal. We achieve something that is collective. This also does relate to my previous discussion rant about the pronoun we and how this twin business we are in right now, and leveling up does relate to how by sharing the personal, we actually open the doors to something that is more collective. I do believe actually that everything personal that happens, you can absorb many positives, even by listening to that, even if you haven't experienced it. But I think a lot of the stuff we do share can be relatable regardless if a similar thing has happened to us or not so similar. So this is also the point of this as well. And I guess it's time to officially welcome you for another day in Ivan's in between, where we do meet our most leveled up twins, you and me as well, by talking about it. So let's get to it. Now, what did I want to talk about? First, let's finish this talk about the year of the snake, the year of shedding, of completely removing stuff. The past week, some stuff happened, and I did stand my ground finally, because this year has been my last straw, and I really am grateful because I did needed the slap in the face and coming back to reality by just seeing people for what they are, by seeing that some situations don't deserve compassion, seeing that me investing energy, effort, love, care into people and things that I do see as mutual, and I do appreciate history spent together. This doesn't mean that people will always appreciate it, and it has come to a point where a lot of reevaluations were needed. And I could say, how did I not see this earlier? I have allowed a lot of situations to go in ways that shouldn't have, and that's why I've come to a point like this. But also, I think we all need this push, slap in the face, revelations, and all these past mistakes to finally realize what is not okay. It's not gonna be okay, and I'm not gonna be silent anymore. Last week, some people did try me, did test me. Bosses, like here, right? Okay, for one situation, I'm talking about customer service, about something that concerned me. In that situation, the bosses in questions were contacted. Apology was received, which I deserved, and I'm so glad I did speak up. It was for all those times I just let it go. Well, I'm glad actually I didn't push it down or just pretended not to see it this time. This week, I did see something that was meant to hurt me, that was unnecessarily cruel, from someone that I already let go. I don't know if they know that. Maybe they are sensing it. But it was very unneeded, the action in question. I honestly laughed at some point, a mix of how absurd it was, but also, once again, I did already let go of that person in my mind, but then seeing them make it even worse for themselves, because I've been there for that specific person a lot of times. I did finally make a reevaluation of the whole relationship, dynamics, friendship, whatever. And I did realize, like, there are probably, like, off the top of my head, there were six very kind gestures taking out of my time, to give, gift something. And gift not just in a physical sense, in sentimental, in energy, in time sense. I did realize that off the top of my head, there were six very huge acts I did, and that person didn't do anything like any of those six acts, and I'm sure there were more. And I finally gave myself the permission to look into it and realize, well, sure, I did consider this was my ride or die, I guess, that this was something more than it actually was. It was disappointing, but I actually needed that. I needed their action, like this week as well, which wasn't, it was kind of directed towards me, but it was just a public thing, like on social media. But I know it was directed at me as well, so it was just. And I'm not talking about like a repost of some dumb reel or whatever. It was kind of a more. It was a big thing. It was a big event, and that was fine. But I am still, I still did feel betrayed, kind of lied to, because I was thinking one thing of this whole relationship, and like this person was trying like to get back at me for something I never did. Like, I don't know what they're getting back at me actually. They just want attention, maybe. I don't know, but they're not ready to give it. Which is one thing I've also, this is a big lesson here in general for this year as well. If someone wants attention, they're gonna try everything to get it from you, but they're not gonna give you attention. And I'm calling all my energy back. I'm calling all my power back to myself. No more giving unnecessary energy to anyone that doesn't deserve it or isn't ready to reciprocate with their time. And here I am going to transition to a second situation and a general point for this video I did want to bring up, let it out into the universe because more people need to talk about it. I have noticed that when you get wronged, inevitably other people will understand about it and have to get involved in some way just by hearing about the situation and knowing both sides. And it's not necessary to take a stance and take a side, but also they will inevitably be at least kind of involved just by listening to what happened by both sides, right? And I did realize a lot of people will not judge or call out the person that did wrong you or start the situation. They will call out your reaction and say, "Oh, just let it go. Don't be petty. You're reacting a little extreme, a little drastic. Just let it go. Why the need for this?" And this, first of all, it's largely misplaced and very inconsiderate of the person that was wrong to hear that by anyone. Second of all, I did realize, and I am gonna call it out because this needs to stop. These people actually do talk to you like that, and I've had like people around me that have been going through the same thing. It's not just me. Those people actually do talk to you like that because they are tired of the problem. They want to not have a problem. They don't want to be involved, And the easiest way is to simply lash out at you, simply lash out at your reaction, and tell you just let it go because it's easier for them if you let it go and they don't have to deal with it. They don't care if this is gonna lead to even more situations where you get wronged because you're just silent. They don't care you will feel a rising resentment in yourself because you keep letting situations slide where the other people can allow to start something and be dramatic, but then you're not allowed to react or dish out the same thing they did do. So, this has been a pet peeve now, I can call it that. And I have had a situation this week as well that this happened. And I'm just not, I did call it out this time. I was kind of made to react instinctively and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna let it go, I'm gonna, like, quickly without thinking, just let go of my boundary and just not make a deal out of it. But I was like, no, actually, if you're gonna lash out, go lash out, or just not lash out. If you're gonna make a comment, go make the comment to the person that actually started this, not me. Because we, third point now, we should judge more. We are allowed to judge more. Guess what? God made us with brains. God gave us judgment. Um, if you don't believe in God, I don't care. Something gave us judgment, and I'm gonna use it for myself. I'm not gonna be um, mindless being, just accepting whatever other people tell me to. Because actually, guess what? None of the stuff I heard from other people that have been in situations I don't want to be in, none of those stuff actually helped me, had any value for myself. And all of the stuff I heard was just for their life and for their daily routine to be more convenient, even though this doesn't work for me. So it's time to stop. It's over, and this is what I mean by saying I'm glad that this year happened, because a lot of events did happen. So finally I know what people I needed to let go, what people would have never been there for me, even though I lived like all my life, really, like for people that have been there for a long time in my life. I have lived with this illusion that they would be there for me and they would do anything for me, and that's why I was always there for them as well. It was a mutual connection, which I thought we all appreciated and were invested in. Well, apparently no. So better to find it now, this way, where I feel betrayed and disappointed, but also not. Still, it's not a very dramatic situation. It's just showing me how I need to act from now on. And this is, the conclusion I want to make by discussing this whole year. It was very, very needed. I am grateful this shedding actually needed to happen. Like, if you're listening to this, and you probably do relate, I haven't seen by now a single person that doesn't relate to the theme of our snake here that is ending now. I'm glad it happened. I needed this. I needed this realizations about where people stand in my life. And now I have more room for the actual people that I already found, that have proved themselves time and time again, and have done more for me in 1 year than those ride or dies people have done in my life for 20 years. Now, I want to make a fourth point here as well, where there's actually this phenomenon which people haven't talked about a lot, but I do want to bring up this point. It needs more discussing. When you do something for a person that is, like a big favor, just being there for them, just helping them in a very vulnerable moment in their life, they will hold it against you in their mind, even if they don't realize it. You will realize it and you will feel it. You will sense it at the most unpleasant moment, I promise you. So better take it from me and hear it now. They will hold it against you because they were vulnerable. You saw them that way. You did help them, which automatically places you in their mind on some sort of pedestal that they kind of want to push you out of because the dynamics kind of change. You have done such a thing and they couldn't do that. They didn't do that for you. You have invested far more and you have been more capable, of being there for them, which they haven't done. So they will hold it secretly against you. It might not show up for the next year or two or three, but I promise you, you will find out eventually. And they will start, kind of changing their behavior towards you. They will change their attitude. They might start devaluing you in some way, maybe in front of other people, maybe in front of yourself, or just make snide remarks, or just show a lot of jealousy eventually. And I did have actually a situation like that as well this year, where this person, I have been there through very vulnerable moments in their life, because they asked me to literally be physically there for them, next to them. And I've never asked for anything like that. I've never had a moment like that, right? And they did look me in the eye and said, I will forever owe you for this. Thank you so much. You can't imagine how grateful I am. And I do believe that they were very grateful in that moment. But then life happened after that, and they weren't in that vulnerable position anymore. So they can be cocky again and actually take it out on you that you were in some sort of way better than them in that point. So what happened is, this person did tell me, "Oh my God, I will forever owe you," and then suddenly turned around, started making some comments, very out of pocket, very jealous, very, like complete, like a switch, something turned on, like completely changed attitude. Whatever, I just decided, okay, I'm not gonna continue with any interactions. Like, what's the point? Anyways, later they did have the audacity to act very rude with very disrespectful tone about a certain situation which they brought up out of nowhere. I was shocked and I shouldn't have been. I really shouldn't have been. And at that point I was like, well, this is disrespectful considering everything. And this person had the audacity, like at that point, to say, I don't owe you anything. And also, it's very unpleasant of me. It's very unpleasant of you to bring up past situations. Well, babes, first of all, yeah, you don't owe me anything. But I think in general, you do owe people, even strangers, basic decency. Not being rude, not being disrespectful. You owe strangers basic decency because that's what our society is like. And if you don't think that, okay, great, you're a monster. Have fun out in the world, I guess. There's place for you as well. Here and in hell, maybe. We'll see. You will see, actually. Let me know if you are that. Anyways, what happens is that this is for strangers, you owe them basic decency, but what about the people or the person that has been in those moments where you were alone and in like such random moments of the day at night as well, you demanded presence. I gave you presence because I'm not a monster. I am compassionate. And I think that's what friends are. But this person, comes out with, which is does reveal the narcissistic qualities on display, like very head on. They're like, here, see, narcissists. Like they're not even trying to hide it at that point. I'm like, I never asked you for anything. Yeah, you don't owe me anything, and I haven't asked you for anything again. I haven't asked you for anything while we were friends. I'm not asking of anything while we are here right now. So why do you have the need, to reiterate how you don't owe me anything or just being rude again for no reason? Babe, I think you do owe me basic decency and just owing me a decent, I would say kind, but that might still be arguable, just neutral tone, if anything. But you're not even willing to give me that, and then you're like just throwing this stuff at me. It's very unfair of you to bring past situations. I don't owe you anything, blah, blah, blah. Babe, this is not bringing up past situation. Actually, here's my fifth and final point for this video, I think. Actually, the past, and in this situation which I put on display, the past, babes, is a fact. And this fact, it's a fact because it happened. There's no subjective truth in the situation I'm talking about. And in general, when something is a fact and it happened, objectively, it happened. So, guess what? I am allowed to call something for what it is, and I am allowed to remind you of our general relationship and the dynamics and what I did for you. I'm not asking anything from you in return, but at least watch your tone, first of all. And second of all, I'm allowed to bring it up actually. It's a fact, babes. And just because someone feels uncomfortable because they're the one that was helped, they were the one that was the weak person per se in this situation because they felt that way. I never called them that way. They obviously felt that way and have a problem with that. If you were the weak one and I invested a lot of help and energy into you, I am allowed to not be like, oh, you were helped. I'm not going to talk about it anymore just so you feel more comfortable. We're not going to say I helped you. We're not going to say how much I did for you. No, let's just pretend and ignore it and just make it convenient for you, babes. Well, no, I will bring it up and you're gonna deal with it because it happened and you're the one that benefited the most from it. So, this, is a tendency I also saw in real time in 4K this year, which I will keep in mind. I advise you to do as well. People will want you to just pretend some stuff haven't happened, or when you're the one that did a lot for them, that's gonna make them feel uncomfortable, so they're gonna be like, well, why are you bringing that up when I want to be right in every situation and you bringing that up isn't fair to me because now I seem like a shitty person. Well, actually, guess what? If you do seem like a shitty person, if I do put in words what happened, maybe you are the shitty person and you feel bad because of that, not because of me stating facts. And if you're not content with the facts, yeah, babes, maybe change your behavior and go to a therapist or maybe several ones if you already are and it's not working, and work on it. Work on it, change your behavior, and maybe you won't feel and see yourself as the shitty person when facts are displayed in front of you next time. Oops. Anyways, this is what I had to share for today. If you have comments, let me know. Please do share with me. Give a thumbs up, subscribe wherever you're watching. Please, it helps a lot. Get that good karma. And if you are willing to see more of me and want to chit chat for whatever, you can see my website and links in description wherever you're watching in description boxes, and you can contact me and see what we can do if you have some problem that you want to share and talk about and solve and meet your leveled up twin even faster. It's been a pleasure to claim this sonic space with you. You know, we're finally changing and claiming space. Now, if people around aren't ready for it, we're gonna build that space together, and I am doing it for myself. This is the point of this happening here. Love you and see you next time. Bye.